Indigo today has about 2000 plus flights a day, and we have a big expansion and growth plan. We are a 365 days, 24 by 7 operations. So the jobs may not be as flashy or alluring as it looks from outside. And for airline employees are responsible for the safety and well-being of passengers and deal with demands of fast-paced, ever-changing schedules. Sometimes they are working in shifts. So definitely, one area that we look at is how do we make it hassle-free for them. Hassle-free is not a word for our customer or that we look at. We also look at internal customers, that is employees, whether they are coming, going, working conditions, etc. We just focus on each and every aspect of that. The second aspect is that there is a lot of demand for trained resources in the market, and we have a lot of focus on training. We have a great institution called iFly, and we are hiring a lot of freshers every month in ground staff, pilots, cabin crew, and as I said, we have a world-class training center called iFly, and now we have opened up regional centers also in some other cities, not just Gurgaon. And once they get trained, they become in demand not only in aviation but also in other industries such as hospitality sector or maybe other sectors also. So definitely, there are some career paths that have been built accordingly, that once they get trained, once they get the license to fly, once they get after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, how their career growth happens. And luckily for us, there's a lot of growth that is coming ahead of us. So they see a long-term career with us as compared to just getting trained and moving out. A company that is not growing will always have retention challenges. So some airlines have gone through this challenge of stagnating or not growing, and hence not providing the requisite growth opportunities to people. However, as mentioned earlier, given the phenomenal growth we have experienced and we will be experiencing, we are thankfully in a better position to provide the growth opportunities and the careers in Indigo. And last but not the least, I think there are some new airlines or foreign aviation companies, especially in the Gulf, keep on expanding, and they look at Indigo as a very player who has the best trained resource, especially the pilots and the cabin crew. However, again, with our growth expansion plans, communication to people, with our latest order of 500 aircraft, which is the highest order aviation history in the world, and including XLRs coming, wide body aircraft that we've just announced, we're looking to revamp our products. So we are looking to expand our presence in the international space also. So I think these are the factors that we keep on communicating and talking about internally so that we overcome these challenges of foreign carriers hiring from us. So these are 4 or 5 areas that we look at from a retention point of view for our employees at Indigo. Yeah, I think COVID pandemic was definitely, not only for aviation, I think for many industries, many companies, I think it was a very challenging time, very unique time, to manage or handle. But recession is something like the seatbelt sign that is being turned on during a flight. It's bumpy for a while, but it's temporary. And in the meantime, you need to deal with the turbulence. I think like any significant external factor, recession impacts business. But I think largely if we focus on culture, engagement, performance, there's long-lasting effects of these things definitely have a very, very positive impact. Kind of factor that we built up at Indigo, and people in tough times, do stand by you. And if we just keep on focusing on these aspects, redundancies definitely have a long-lasting effects on culture, engagement, and performance. But they can't be your go-to solution every time. So and of course, as I said, communicate clearly, transparently, keep employees informed about company decisions, safety protocols, support measures. We also, do some temporary adjustments to working patterns, which are feasible for some employees. So I think it's more about communication, care that you display at that time has to go at a very, different level as compared to normal levels. So I think this takes care of such instances like recession or maybe something which you mentioned about pandemic, etc. So we have AI not only for customer, but I think now we have launched a couple of areas in HR also. Definitely one is experimentation stage for our recruitment, and secondly, a chatbot which is for employees, and we call it HR Sky, is already on our internal app for employees, and it is taking care of many queries of employees. So the AI is answering that, and it has been well trained bot now, and it's being in use for about 3 months now, and we are training it further and further to take care of more and more complex queries of employees. So AI is definitely a big thing, and we are also not just building AI capabilities in a couple of areas of organization, but all the functions that we're training people on AI, etc. But overall tech, I think we've used at many places. Tech and analytics has become a focus area for us in HR, and whether it is voice of employee platform, whether it is internal talent marketplace, graduating from IJP or internal job posting to making it a talent marketplace, or for making it used for pay equity, analytics, etc., predictive analytics tools, and even to an extent of wellness and volunteering programs which are being delivered digitally now. So I think there's a lot of focus on tech overall in HR, and of course a lot of focus on BI tools like, for example, Power BI, etc. So we have a specific team working on these two areas for even our internal employees. So communication platforms, I think, is ingrained in or embedded in Indigo at various levels and various functions and overall organization levels also. For example, I mentioned about 60 Voice. 60 Voice is something that have a channel for or a platform for our employees to write to us any time of the day. They can just go on the app, they can put their suggestion, idea, they can put their area of concern, etc. to us. It's a great mechanism because our operation is 24/7. So why can't they, just open the app for a second and just put in their thought or idea there? And this is overall, but I think there are various functional platforms which are also there, and there is, like, for example, 60 Girl Power. We have an online forum for women employees, aimed at where they can write, and again, it's a place where all the women employees can interact among themselves and put their thoughts. So we have a separate microsite for them, put their thoughts, and they are responded to there. Similarly, we have a safe place for our LGBT community. We have a PWD, we have now 200 plus PWD employees. So for every section of our colleagues, I think we have created these channels where we don't just listen to them, but also respond to them, queries and issues and suggestions. And of course, there are the other things that we do. For example, when we were doing a visioning exercise, when we were doing a values, revisiting exercise, we involved a lot of people who visited our training center, leaders who participated. So it was all done together, so visioning, creating values, revisiting values were all done by a group of people together. So these forums, whether it's a town hall by every function or reward and recognition platforms or online platforms where it's a two-way, communication. It's not just one way saying, the leader is not just giving the views, but there are avenues for people to give their views, and their points are responded to and well taken into account. So it's a two-way communication that happens on every platform. No, I think there's a lot to learn from even youngsters now. It is not about just experience. So I definitely learn a lot from young HR professionals who are in my team. Not just about 25 years of experience who can make you learn, but I think there's a lot to learn from every youngster that we have in the company. But from my experience, I can just share with you that there are 4 or 5 things that definitely need to look at. One is, I think you should not tolerate your worst performance. I think if you have some areas of concern, some employees who are coming in the way of culture, there needs to be some counseling, guiding them, etc., so that we deal with their behavior. And I think that is one area that probably we definitely need to look at the behavioral level. And we need to, of course, give them a chance, give them counseling, give them, areas of where they can improve. And also, if it still continues, then it is a negative influence on people who are performing, large section of people who are performing. So we need to take care of that. Second, I think we have trained up people to understand the personal needs needs and allow some flexibility in special or unforeseen situations. And I think managers need to be little flexible on that. Now, though we have shifts, we don't have work from home, etc., because it's all operating roles, largely working on the aircraft or airport. But if there are some areas of concern that an employee highlights because of personal situations, we are little flexible to take care of that, help employees or to take care of that, especially in unforeseen situations. And the third one, so that definitely brings in a care element. And the third one is there is a lot of importance given to employee development. They're right from the day one when they join us. We hire a lot of freshers, so we don't just make them job ready, but also focus a lot on making them future ready. I think that's very important. So development needs to be given a lot of weightage and importance position. And we should have clear selection and onboarding strategy for our new joinees, so that they know from day one what is expected from them in terms of goals, etc. What is the culture that they are entering. There are some things that we don't want to compromise on, and that is the culture part. For Indigo, we say that culture is important, and we ensure that we communicate our values, we communicate our purpose, etc. every new joinee, and so that they start resonating with it from day one. Thank you.